You, unfortunately, are only converting 20% of your phone calls or your door knocks. But let's just say that you are substandard. Substandard means you're probably converting at 20%. I've got to be honest with you, I don't think you're even going to be doing 20 market appraisals a month because I don't think you can convince people to see you. So I reckon if you've got a 20% conversion, I think you've probably got a 20% conversion on your prospecting calls, your door knocks, and of course the person who's converting 70 or 80%, they're getting everyone in their diary. You, unfortunately, are only converting 20% of your phone calls or your door knocks, which means you'll be lucky to be doing 8 to 10 market appraisals a month. On 8 market appraisals with an average value of £20,000, what you're looking at is £160,000 of potential property brought to market. So you're giving yourself £160,000 of opportunity to list property. So if you are only converting 20% of that £160,000 of fees that you could potentially list, you're bringing to market £32,000 a month, okay? Now some people think, oh, that's all right. Well, it's actually quite detrimental to you because first of all, it's a lot less than the first numbers we were talking about. But second of all, it really doesn't give you much opportunity to convert because when you're looking at maybe a 50% conversion from listed to market to sold, you're only looking at £16,000 as a gross sales agreed figure. Welcome to the latest episode of our YouTube series, the $1 Million Agent series for real estate brokers. So today we're going to cover a portion of probably what I believe is one of the most important topics, which is objection handling. So for me, I just want to break down exactly why this is so important. First of all, objection handling is massively and grossly overlooked as a skill because people don't realize that actually if you cannot deliver the value, deliver the reason, or deliver enough of a motivation for that potential seller, potential buyer, whoever it is you're in communication with, to effectively deviate from the path that they're on, to then go with you, either listing their house, making an offer, viewing the house, whatever it might be, then you are going to be in a little bit of trouble because everybody can list features and benefits. I can say to you, we're the greatest agency. We're a national company. We've got agents all over the UK, and now we've expanded to Dubai. We work far harder. We train much better than all of our competitors. All of these things can be massive lists of features as to why I think Tyron Ash International is the best company to list your house. If they then turn around and say, well, actually, I'm not so sure because X, Y, and Z. If you have not got the skills in your artillery to take that objection, what I would call nullify it, and then overcome it by delivering the solution to that objection and moving the conversation on to the next phase of commitment, which is a complete objection handling process, then you are in a little bit of trouble. Now, let me just explain exactly how detrimental this can be to your business. Let's just say on market appraisals leading to listings, if you cannot handle objections correctly, where they say to you, my best friend's an estate agent, the other estate agent will do it for 1% when you're charging 2.5%. I don't want to pay upfront marketing. The other agent said they'll do the marketing for free. Or simply, I want to list it at the price I want to list it at, and you can just market it from there because I'm not listening to your advice. All of these things can be objection handling or objections that come up, which can effectively cost you either winning the listing, getting the listing and getting it sold, or even being paid what you're worth when you sell the listing. So if you don't have the skills to overcome these, you are going to list at 1% or 0.5%. You are going to be paying for all of your own marketing costs when the owners should be paying. You are going to be listing properties overpriced because you don't understand how to deliver the market data and show the owners why when they pitch it at the perfect price, it's actually going to get them the highest value in the market. You need to have all this in your artillery, as I said. So how detrimental is that going to be? So let's just say that you go to 20 market appraisal appointments a month, okay? And let's just say that on average, each one of those market appraisal meetings has a listing value of around £20,000 gross commission. So let's just say it's an average fee of 2%. Ours is 2.5, but let's work on an average of 2. That gives us a nice round number that if you list a property at £1 million, 2% of that is £20,000 into the company. So let's just say you go to 20 market appraisals a month. And let's just say you have an opportunity to list £400,000 of fees to the market should you list 100% of them, which is obviously very unrealistic. So if you are a very, very skilled objection handler, and of course you know your product, your service and everything perfectly, there's a good chance that you should break the 50% barrier, even hitting around 60 or 70%. But let's work on 60%. That means that you would be bringing to market every single month £240,000 of fees listed to market with your company, which means if you then went on to sell 50% of that stock over the course of each month, that means you're going to have a gross sales number of £120,000 of sales agreed with your company. And if you're on a 50% commission split, that means you're earning £60,000 a month. So that is if you are regularly doing 20 market appraisals, have a conversion of market appraisals to listing of 60%, and of course, an average fee of 2% across £1 million average value. So that's a lot of money. And at 60 grand a month, well, you know very well that that is breaking £500,000-600,000 a year. It's huge money. So let's just say that you are a substandard objection handler. You don't know how to overcome these. And that is very common, by the way. When we're talking about people who don't know how to overcome these, we're actually talking about the majority. I'm going to say as far as 95%. The reason being is people don't want to learn how to overcome them. So I've heard many of these property gurus say, watch me overcome an objection. And then I've watched them stutter and stumble and try and talk in the third person. They don't know how to overcome an objection. I personally can overcome absolutely any objection thrown at me and will give it 100% delivery because I'm that sure that the value I deliver and the journey that that seller must take with me is far more beneficial to them and to me doing it together than their existing plan with their current agent. And by delivering that, handling the objections, that is why I used to have a 70 to 80% conversion across 20 plus market appraisals a month. But let's just say that you are substandard. Substandard means you're probably converting at 20%. Okay, 20%. So let's just say if you are converting at 20%, I've got to be honest with you, I don't think you're even going to be doing 20 market appraisals a month because I don't think you can convince people to see you. So I reckon if you've got a 20% conversion, I think you've probably got a 20% conversion on your prospecting calls, your door knocks, and of course the person who's converting 70 or 80%, they're getting everyone in their diary. You, unfortunately, are only converting 20% of your phone calls or your door knocks, which means you'll be lucky to be doing 8 to 10 market appraisals a month, which is still pretty good on average, but you'd be lucky to be doing about 8. So let's work on about 8 market appraisals because your closing ratio is not that great. On 8 market appraisals with an average value of £20,000, what you're looking at is £160,000 of potential property brought to market. So you're giving yourself £160,000 of opportunity to list property. So if you are only converting 20% of that £160,000 of fees that you could potentially list, you're bringing to market £32,000 a month. Okay, now some people think, oh, that's all right. Well, it's actually quite detrimental to you because first of all, it's a lot less than the first numbers we were talking about. But second of all, it really doesn't give you much opportunity to convert because when you're looking at maybe a 50% conversion from listed to market to sold, you're only looking at £16,000 as a gross sales agreed figure, which means that even though it sounds okay, you're only going to be really earning around £8,000 a month, which is still 100 grand a year, but it's not £500,000 plus a year. So the difference is absolutely astronomical. So what you've got to do is when you are in conversations with someone who's potentially going to book a market appraisal with you, somebody who's potentially at a market appraisal with you and they're considering listing their home with you, or it could be a property investor that's potentially looking at buying multiple units with you in the off-plan market or investment market. All of these things need to be nailed because if you don't nail them, then they're not going to do business with you. It's very, very simple. So when you are talking to people, you must be completely up to speed and prepared for the meeting. You must have all your data ready. You must have all the market appraisal information ready, your company information ready. You must have a clear and concise strategy of what you're going to do to get their house sold, and also have clear explanations and rebuttals as to why this offers a distinctively heavier advantage than what they're currently getting with a high street agent or another corporate agent out in Dubai. And all of these are absolutely super important factors of you winning the business and actually then verbally discussing it, moving it forward and getting it closed. So we can't break down every single scenario because this could be about a 3 or 4 hour video, but I'm going to give you one, and I will show you the level of training that we do in the business with agents and why we list far more properties than our competitors, why we've grown at such an astronomical rate across the UK and even in Dubai, and really how our agents are dealing with objections in multiple scenarios to either get the property booked in for a market appraisal, get the potential investor booked in the diary for a chat about investing, get the market appraisal won face-to-face with a high fee, a perfect offers over or asking price, and of course, a brilliant marketing strategy to execute it. All of this, as well as negotiating the sale to the best possible value, and any other little things that may come up. But let's talk about one scenario. So I will give you a perfect door knocking or telephone conversation to overcome an objection to get that person in your diary for a meeting about selling their home. So in the last video, I did cover when I called Mr. Smith and I was ringing him up to close him for an appointment, and gave a pretty good idea of how you can get that into your diary. But what you've got to understand is that there could be a whole list of objections. Everything and anything from my best friend's my estate agent, I'm part owners of the estate agency, or it's already on with 3 other agents, the fees are too expensive, I don't want to pay estate agency fees, I hate estate agents, all these different reasons why they don't want to let you in to actually value the property. So what you've got to understand is the first rule of prospecting and overcoming objections is that every single objection is the same. Yeah, you heard it. Every single objection is the same. So when you understand that you have to group every single objection together, then the warpath of overcoming objections simplifies very quickly. Because for me, if somebody says any reason why they can't book in an appointment with myself, that is purely just a smokescreen for the fact they don't really feel motivated enough to do it. So yes, their best friend might be an estate agent. Yes, they might hate estate agents in general. Yes, they might already be on with 2 other agents, whatever it might be. So let's go through 1 or 2 of these objections. I knock on the door. Mr. Smith again answers. Hi, Mr. Smith. Sorry to disturb you. Don't worry, I'm not selling anything. Just pausing on that. I usually open with a bit of a tongue-in-cheek joke or something just to relax the mood a little bit. If I come in with a hard-nosed sales pitch, people's backs get up very quickly and their barriers are very, very high. So back into the pitch. Mr. Smith, I was just passing through, and don't worry, I'm not selling anything. I'm not a double glazing salesman. All it was, I was going to see some clients a couple of streets nearby who we're listing their property to sell. We've had a really huge sales... Let me start again. We've had some absolutely astronomical sales numbers. And then as I was going through all my market research, I just happened to notice your home. And I have to say, I'm very surprised that a beautiful home like this is still on the market. So what I would always do as well is I would kind of add a little bit of value into the process. So we've dropped some big sales numbers. You need to sound important. You shouldn't be just there to see him. You should have been flying off to another meeting and you just thought you'd drop by and introduce yourself. So let me pick this back up. So as I was coming through, I thought I'd just introduce myself to you, Mr. Smith. First of all, I can't believe your beautiful house hasn't sold. And as I was doing my market research on your neighbour's property, I thought I'd just have to come by and introduce myself. If you don't mind me asking, how's it been going for you so far? So what I've done is I've effectively just reinstated what this pitch is, how you're going to do a perfect door knocking pitch. And then what we're getting to is about how to overcome the objection. So let's go with, thanks for coming by, but I'm not interested. That's a pretty straightforward one. Sorry, Tyron, I know you're popping by, but look, I'm not interested. Mr. Smith, I totally understand. You probably get bombarded by estate agents all the time. And quite frankly, I'm just a random guy who's turned up at your house asking for a chat. So I would naturally understand why you're not interested. However, if you could just give me 15 minutes of your time, not necessarily today. The reason I've knocked on your door today is that we have a strategy that is far, far more proactive than what you're currently getting with your current agent. I'm not asking you to deviate from that agent in any way, shape, or form. I'm purely asking for the opportunity to show you exactly how the strategy works and exactly how it can guarantee to get you the best possible price in the market. So with that in mind, when are you free for me to just pop by to the house? Me and you can have a very informal chat. You can show me around and I'll just show you how this all works. So this is my personal pitch. This is what I used to do when I was knocking doors, when I was phoning people, is that no matter what that objection is, it always had the same response. I would repeat it back to them. I would isolate it. And then I would nullify it by saying, totally understand X, Y, and Z objection. But the reason is that I am calling you or door knocking or whatever it might be is because X, Y, and Z reasons. We've hit these results. They're definitely going to be of interest to you. And I'm absolutely certain someone of your caliber is going to want to listen to what we've got to say. So what you've done is you've basically took the sting out the objection. The minute you take the sting out of that objection, it allows you to progress the conversation forward. So where people fail to handle objections correctly is they don't actually move it on. So what they'll do is they'll come up with their rebuttal, they'll come up with their answer, but then they don't know how to accelerate it to the next process. And that's because they're scared. They're scared of rejection. They've hit a little brick wall and they're worried that they're going to get a massive pushback. Now, sometimes you might get another pushback, you might get another objection, and you're not going to win every single time. That's why we have conversions of 50%, 60%, 70%. But if you do this perfectly on 100 door knocks or 100 calls out of 100, you will convert 60, 70, 80% of them. If you just fall back every time someone comes up with a reason why they don't want to invite you in for a market appraisal or why they don't want to set up the meeting, you're going to fail 60, 70, 80, 90% of the time. So you've got to master this. This is the difference between you scraping 70, 80,000 pound a year or even 30, 40,000 pound a year, or you doing 30, 40,000 pound a month. So you've got to decide, do you want to master that objection? Or do you want to just be one of those people that fades into the distance and wonders how people like me actually did it? So I've given you one isolated discussion point on how we handle objections and how we overcome them. Please rewatch the video. In our business, what we tend to do is break down every single component, whether that is booking in your market appraisals, booking in your buyer meetings if they're investors, winning the market appraisal at the meeting, holding your fees at 2.5%, getting a perfect price to actually get the property sold for the best possible price, getting a marketing campaign done with the owners so we can get the most eyes on the property, and of course, negotiating sales with buyers to the best possible price for your owners, and also working to make sure that you have the most effective hit rate possible. I'm not interested in people doing thousands and thousands of calls, thousands and thousands of doors, and only getting 5 or 10% conversion. I'm interested in people hitting 50, 60, 70% conversions, making massive money, and of course, working effectively, stamping their mark in the real estate industry, and of course, leaving a legacy in partnership with Tyron Ash International. So if you're interested in really just elevating yourself to the next level of career, reach out to the team, Tyron Ash International, and our recruitment team is waiting to hear from you. We train absolute killers in the industry. We want you earning £50,000 a month, not £50,000 a year. Thanks for watching. Click like, click subscribe, and I appreciate your attention today.